Okay, back me up on this one. Professor Layton looks mild-mannered enough, but he's only a curly mustache away from concocting evil schemes and tying girls to railroad tracks. Got Professor Layton? You got Phoenix Wright. Booyah. I want to start this off by saying that I've only ever played one Professor Layton game in the past, and that's the original one, Curious Village. I have also never played a Phoenix Wright game before either, but there's a reason for this, and it relates to why I think this game is so incredibly good. It's because I know instinctually I would suck at them. As much as I grew up idolizing characters like Sherlock Holmes, Basil of Baker Street, Nate the Great, my brain doesn't function that way. Maybe that's why I idolize those characters so much. I mean, why do you think I've got this guy just kind of lying here? For the cuteness factor alone? No, I love those kinds of people because I respect the way they think. I could never do that kind of thing. And I think that's what makes this game so brilliant. Because here's a proof of concept right here. I'm getting to the point, trust me, I'm getting to the point, but there's a puzzle Professor Layton presents Mr. Wright in a cutscene fairly early on. You don't participate in this. He puts 2 loaves of bread on a table, and they're lined up vertically like this. Now, what does that look like? The number 11, right? So, knowing this, Professor Layton gives Mr. Wright a 3rd loaf, and he says, add that to it to make it a lesser number than 11. And so, Phoenix is looking at this and going, how do I make this possible? So the first thing his mind goes to is he puts the loaf between the other 2, turns it into an arithmetic problem, basically. 1 minus 1, which would equal 0. Maya's solution is to bite off half of the loaf, and so that it actually fits between the other 2. You know, because she's Maya. However, Mr. Layton has a different solution. He stands the 3rd loaf on its tip to make it a point. So now it's 1.1. Now I have to point out that that is not where my brain went, okay? I put the loaf on the left side of the 11, also horizontal. So instead of making it 1.1 or positive 11, now it was a negative number, negative 11. See, I rule at these kinds of things. But the incredible part, the part that makes me think everything about this crossover was completely intentional, is that Mr. Wright flat out says, I don't think I'm cut out for this kind of puzzle. There you have it. That is why this game is so good. Most of us are only built to think, to approach problems from one angle. We're either an associative thinker or we're a logical thinker. And there are so very precious few individuals on the planet that can think both ways and follow both trains of thought. I mean, most people will go, who can do the Phoenix Wright style puzzles, go from A, B, C, D, because they think about things logically step by step. I go from A to G, back to F, and maybe I'll hit W on the way to Z. And the funny thing is, I can rationalize that path to you. But here's the cool thing. This game now has both. I mean, one character tackles associative thinking, the other tackles logical thinking. But if you think about it in terms of how the games actually play, they're both puzzles. It makes you use both sides of your brain. And it's incredible. It makes you think in ways that you've never thought before. It challenges your brain to follow thought patterns that the other game was lacking without the other character. You have both of these segments and they're both working towards this one ultimate goal. And that brings me to the other part, the story. Like I said, I've always been fascinated with characters like Sherlock Holmes because I love following the steps. I love seeing it come to its ultimate conclusion, and that's what I found so fascinating about the original Curious Village, is following the story, trying to figure out what was going underneath the hood of the game, if you will, what characters were thinking, what roles they played in the grand scheme of things, and there were hints, but because I don't follow that particular train of thought, I didn't realize what it was all about until the very end. Mr. Layton, however, had it possibly like an hour into the game, who knows. He's just that brilliant. This is why shows like Law and Order and shows like CSI have been around for so long, because you see every step. Not only do you see the people finding the pieces, but then once all the pieces are together, you see somebody put them in a logical order in court. You see the entire dramatic story of the case from beginning to investigation to conclusion, and that is one huge dramatic ride. You're playing as Layton and you're discovering all the clues. These clues are brought together in the courtroom where Mr. Wright puts them together. Why do I keep calling these guys Mr.? I know their first names. I guess it's just out of respect is the thing, because it's fascinating. It's truly fascinating seeing these guys uncover this mystery piece by piece, and not a single moment is wasted. Every twist and turn, every puzzle you solve, every witness, every time you contradict their testimony, it opens up something new. It makes you think more deeply about what's going on. Following that, this story, the story is amazing in that sense, just watching it unravel itself. It's one of the best mysteries I've seen in a long time. It's just fun. It's so much fun to follow through. It's so engaging. By the time you're done with Chapter 1 in this game, because of the way everything is set up, because of the way it makes your thought processes fire on all cylinders, by the end of the game, you are so incredibly engaged in what's going on, your brain doesn't have any more room for anything else. You are totally, I hate to use this word, I know you're gonna hate me, Adam Sessler, but immersed in what's going on here. You are so caught up in everything that you just want to keep playing. And that's what makes it so great. Smells like dog in here. Hello, Bagel. Hey, sweetheart. You want to help me pander for internet views? I think that's what makes this game so incredibly good, is that it covers both halves of things. And that's what makes it so great to share with another person too, is maybe they fill in the blanks. Like maybe they are really good at the Professor Layton puzzles while you're really good at the Phoenix Wright puzzles. And together you both share this incredible adventure, uncovering the secrets of Labyrinthia and figuring out everything that's going on. You both shared this incredible adventure together, or maybe by yourself if you're brilliant enough. Or you know, you could just use game facts if you're lame like that. But jokes aside, this is a great game. Hands down, bar none. If you love puzzles, if you love training your brain, you love exercising the way you think, this is totally going to be worth your money. I cannot recommend it enough to anybody who has a 3DS and loves these kinds of games, because it is going to be worth your time every single time, every step of the way. Nate the Great? Really? Bagel, how much you want to bet nobody is going to know what that's from?